headlines that you need to know right here on a Monday to get your week started off in style, and that's going to include some Final Four action. And by the way, Joe, had a nice little respite yesterday. I said, you know what? A 2 o'clock start and a 5 o'clock start here on a Sunday afternoon spells ratings. Both of those games looked like they were headed for a blow, but as we know, and we'll go over, UConn was not ready for that blowout, overtook Duke. That was a crazy scenario. But, Joe, we have the Final Four on the horizon. And I don't mean to get angry. I don't, because I will be watching it. So will everybody else. One game starts at 6:09. One game starts at 8:49, which means after 9 o'clock. What are we doing with our entire day? Why can't we have, Joe, a 2 o'clock and a 5 o'clock Final Four for all to see and all to enjoy? Forget about that for now. That's for a topic a little bit later. How about Illinois and UConn? How about that? It should be Illinois and Duke, but UConn with a tremendous comeback. And now we see, Joe, a -2.5 point line at the opening number, still sitting at -2.5 in a lot of outlets. But also, Joe, I'm seeing -1.5s in the marketplace right now as a slight favorite towards Illinois. Connecticut and Illinois also with a total listed of 139.5. Game one, Joe, of the Final Four this Saturday. What's that early spread line?
It's kind of interesting. Kind of tells you that maybe, just maybe, the seeding in the committee, did they get this wrong, Donnie? Because last I checked, that's a 3 seed that's a favorite on a neutral court over the 2 seed UConn there. So I'll be interested to see where this line goes throughout the week, given the fact that 2 teams that are not in a rush to go anywhere. These are 2 teams that certainly can play some defense. The 2 teams that, yep, they like to get their own rebounds. They like to avoid teams actually getting their rebounds. It's just a styles make fights, and this is one of the more interesting ones, I think. And yeah, a lot of Illinois became the public darling somewhere along the line here, but I think UConn might go off as a pick'em more so than maybe Illinois going off as a 3 or 3.5 point favorite before we get the tip.
And by the way, we talked a lot here on the predictive markets, Joe, where you said, hey, what's the combination of the 2 seeds that are going to meet up in the final? 2, 3, 4, 5? You are already going to have at least a 3 or a 2 show up there, which would have cashed that ticket for over 2, which means as long as you didn't have 2 number 1 seeds meeting in the final, you were going to make some money here, and congratulations, you're going to do that. Michigan and Arizona. Boy, you won a great game here as well in game number 2. You got it. Michigan here opens up, Joe, as a slight -1.5 point favorite over Arizona in a total of 157.5. Both of these 2 teams rolling into the Final Four, a fantastic Final Four just setting up. But Michigan and Arizona, Joe, what's that early spread line for you?
Well, it's unfortunate because a lot of people thought this was the national championship game, or should have been, but they got to go through one another, Donnie, to get there. But still, a lot of people think whoever wins this game is eventually going to be your national champion one way or the other. Whoever wins this game is not going to be an underdog to the other side, no matter who wins that, too. So keep that in mind. But I thought Arizona might open up as the slight favorite here, Donnie, and they didn't. It seems to have gone towards Michigan. And the more you dive into the numbers, listen, it makes sense, right? Because Arizona does not shoot the 3 very well. They don't shoot it very often. They're all about dominating inside the paint. And I don't know that they're doing that against this Michigan team is huge. They, too, like to dominate inside the paint here. I do think points could be coming in this game, though, Donnie. So the total seems very interesting to me. I think it's only going to keep rising. So if you're looking at an over, sooner rather than later, I think, because this number is just going to get closer to 160, I think, before it's all said and done.
How about being the head coach here, looking at May on the sideline? So proud of his son splashing 3-point shots late in that game. But let's hear from the coaches after that Michigan game.
We're extremely proud of our guys.
There we go.
The way they competed against a storied program like Tennessee that's as well coached as anyone in the country, against a team that has battled all year and really improved as the season's gone on. But our guys have been up to the challenge to deliver at the in the biggest moments all year, and nothing changed tonight. But just to be proud, we're all just very proud to be a part of this group.
We're obviously disappointed. We think that we're better than what we showed today, and we sort of, the game was kind of where we had it in the first, 8 to 10 minutes, and then we picked up 5 quick fouls, and it got away from us, and give them credit. But just so proud of our guys. They've had a phenomenal year. Obviously, when you get to this point and you don't move on, extremely disappointing, especially when you know you weren't at your best and you know you need to be at your best this time. But proud of these two guys here, and Grant. Grant was a guy we brought back to help us maintain our culture with the locker room, and Felix has been amazing. And I thought Jacoby in the year just endeared himself to Vol Nation, and he was fearless today. And but just unbelievably proud of this team. Really, we've gone through a lot. They've stuck together to get us to this point, and there's probably, 50-some teams that like to be here today where we are even after a loss, and so I'm proud of their effort, and we want more. There's no doubt we want more. We want to break through this thing, but you got to get here first, and just so proud of the effort these guys gave it this year.
It's a Monday Fun Day right here on the show. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranier. My goodness, what happened? Sensational Sweet 16 and Elite 8. No Cinderellas here, people, in the Final Four, which I love to see. Ratings should be high, and away we go. But I was watching that Duke UConn game yesterday, going like, man, it's another blowout on the day. Second blowout of the day. Tough times here. Shut the game off. How about this? Number one seeds were 134-0 and leading by 15-plus points at halftime. So like me, I said, they're probably going to be 135-0. Nope, 134-1. Why? Because UConn came all the way back and won that basketball game 73-72 to knock off the number one seeded Duke Blue Devils here and advance into the Final Four. What an incredible game, Joe. What an incredible collapse by Duke.
That's why they call it madness. And we've said it. And I got to tell you, Don, I mean, up to that point, it had been chalk fest in a big, big way. We weren't even getting competitive games here. I mean, Tennessee did not show up in any way, shape, or form the game prior to that. And even the night before that, Donnie, just kind of yawned, right? Just the chalk, chalk, and chalk. Purdue couldn't deliver. And so you're going with a 15-point lead at the half, Donnie. You're watching that game, and I had UConn. But, you know, when they went 1 of 11 from 3 in the first half, that was really the difference. Now, granted, Duke held teams to just about 30% from 3 on the season. Had UConn just shot 30% from 3 in the game, just average, Donnie, they would have won this game by double digits. I mean, that's how ridiculous a difference it was from the perimeter in this game. But ultimately, ironically, it's the 3 that sticks the dagger into Duke by UConn, who couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat from 3-point range yesterday.
Crazy triple as well. And understand this, Duke had a 2-point lead with seconds left to go. They inbound the ball. Why are you advancing it down court? Hold the basketball. They'll run over and hack you. You make your free throws. The game is over at this point. And even if you don't make your free throws and miss, it's a full-length court heave as opposed to a relatively makeable long-distance 3-point shot. Unbelievable stuff, but UConn moves on 73-72. The other semifinal, you saw the graphic. Man, Michigan looks like they're on display saying, this is why we're a number one seed here. 95-62, an absolute runaway victory over Tennessee. It's a very good SEC team here, and you even had the bench players playing 3 and 4 minutes late in that game, firing and making threes, Joe. Michigan made a mockery of Tennessee.
Yeah, no, Tennessee, it just, congratulations, Rick Barnes. Once again, you get to the Elite 8 and you can't do anything with it. So, that's a problem here. But again, we kind of figured that this is what we were going to be looking at, right? Arizona, Michigan. How anybody discounted UConn, I don't get, simply because, listen, they've got experience, they've got championship DNA. And now, you know, when's the last time Hurley lost a game in the tournament that didn't cover the spread? Like once, I think. Over the last 4 years, UConn expects to be here, and UConn is there as a number 2 seed. It's the Illinois team I find fascinating.
Rick Pitino gets paid here from St. John's, and rightfully so. But understand this, too. In the recruiting battles, you need every edge. Hey, Rick's only signed for 2 more years. He won't be there to see you your junior or senior year. Got to give him the extension like in football. That's what they did. I don't think he's going to coach till 2030, but you got to give him the extension just for the appearance purposes.
Yeah, give him the extension. Second highest paid coach there in the Big East, right? So, right behind, guess who? One and only, Mr. Hurley. That's the whole point. So, yeah. But 2 best coaches happen to reside maybe in the Big East here. I don't know that John Shire, after another collapse, can be considered one of the better coaches in college basketball right now.
How about Gino upset here, Joe, from The Athletic? Gino Auriemma criticized the NCAA's tournament setup, calling out the two-region format for the women's bracket. Look, how about this? How about we just don't play the women's brackets anymore? Because every coach is unhappy every single time we watch.
Yeah, it really is kind of crazy, Donnie, right? And where are they?
And why
Phoenix
is he
now?
mad?
Yeah, I mean, now you got to go. Yeah, I don't know. Is it UCLA having to go east? Is it UConn having to go west? What's the difference? You got plenty enough time. You're in the Final Four, Gino. You're good to go. You're going to have to beat UCLA anyway to get it done, which I'm sure they will.
Yeah, here's the difference, too, as well, which I always bring up. We're trying to get the most eyeballs we can on your separate tournaments here. We're always going to watch the men over the women. So what do? Well, wait, let's put it on at the same time. Like, you can't stagger these tournaments so the women get a share of the spotlight as opposed to saying, no. Run them up same time, we'll be just fine. So if the coaches are mad, I'm mad at what they actually do at this point. But by the way, Gino, what is he? They roll everybody anywhere. What's the purpose of you changing the tournament in any way, shape, or form, UConn? Who cares, right? That's what they say. More hot topics coming up next. It's the early line right here on a Monday. Monday morning early line edition. So many things, so many hot topics here going down last week, which includes the Major League Baseball opening of the season, ABS, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and NBA action, all wrapped up into one. It's your boy DRS along with Joe Ranier. We welcome in Kevin Walsh, bright and early here on a Monday, ready to get things started here. Looking good, looking fresh, looking ready, Kev. Come on, we need the excitement this week. We do. You got it?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Got in just in time to hear you.
Yeah,
it was like the bat signal,
only
right?
truth.
Like you pretending like Rick Pitino lifted Iona up. We're at the point now where basically I could argue Rick Pitino ruined Iona basketball, but I don't think that's the lead story that people are kind of at the edge of their seat for.
I mean, there's talks of Iona going down to Division III, joining the New Jersey Athletic Conference at this point, in shambles up there at the Heinz Center. But that's not what we're really talking about today, Kevin. I do want to talk to you about this. Like, for me, I love the fact, and you know me, like, games are on at certain times, make me happy. I was able to watch those games yesterday. A little boring there. Michigan rolling away, and I tuned in a little bit late in that one, but I started to stick it out, and it was fun the last couple of minutes. Coaches, kids getting chances out there, like to make a wish, knock down some threes in some big moments, and have some fun. But I got to be honest. I watched the entire first half of the Duke game and was like, man, I was hoping for a good game. It wasn't there. And I told the story already on the show. I turned it off, came back on later, and just went to Twitter to see how much Duke won by. Kevin, shocked that they lost that game.
Yeah, I mean, classic DRS, right? Like, I don't think, you like to call yourself the common man. I imagine most watching are in like, yeah, I also turned off the Elite 8 game between Duke and UConn. Yeah. What were you doing? You certainly weren't doing anything better.
Like, a lot of baseball yesterday, Kid. A lot of baseball at that time. Come on now.
You've got 400 screens in front of you. You absolutely could have left Duke UConn up in the corner. It was an incredible comeback. The halftime line was 12.5. So it was a question. It was like, the books were like, yeah, UConn will play better in the second half, but they're not going to win this basketball game. And slowly but surely, every three made by UConn felt like it was worth 4 points instead of 3. And people are like, oh, what a tough loss for Duke. I stand by it. This isn't their worst tournament loss within the last 2 tournaments. The Houston game, to me, is still even worse. I know it didn't come with a dramatic shot, but it was a better basketball team with an even more improbable choke job. So just a crazy scene, and Hurley does it again.
What cracks me up, Kev, is that if they just shoot average to even what Duke has held teams from 3, which is about 30% this year, they win that game close to double digits, UConn. They had outplayed Duke. If it wasn't for the 1 for 11 start from 3, that was the difference in the first half. And then all of a sudden, they basically came back and won a game by dominating them inside the 2-point range. It was that dominant of a UConn game where, it came down to a pass and a crazy 3. But had they just shot average, they probably win that game going away.
Yeah, I like UConn in the game. I actually like UConn in the region. One of the, I got 50% of the Final Four. I assume most people got at least 50% of the Final Four because of the 2-1 seeds that made it. The thing is, and listen, Duke ended up being what I thought Duke was. A team led by the best player in the country and not enough behind him. Isaiah Evans had 7 points. Are you actually surprised? Malik Brown started this basketball game and did not score in this basketball game. If you want to tell me that the whole season flipped because Gungba and Foster were injured, I'm not going to act like it's a nothing, but Foster and Gungba are not a pair of lottery talents, right? Like last year's Duke team that had Cooper Flagg and then a bunch more lottery talent level guys. So, again, they lost by 1. This Duke team lost 3 games by one, and then at the buzzer by 3. They're obviously incredible, but I didn't think they'd close the door. They're not going to close the door.
And John Shire out here, like a lot of talent, not cashing in those tickets here. We'll see what happens there down at Duke, but they'll probably reload with multiple 5 stars, and away they go. And which way they're going to blow another lead next year in the tournament. They're digging on. Here's our Fade the Public poll. How about this? We got a pretty good one here. At Sports Grid, what is your national championship matchup prediction? Illinois, Arizona, Michigan, Illinois, UConn, Michigan, or Arizona, UConn? Pretty even split right down the board, Joe, with Arizona and UConn as the current favorite now.
And these have to be the 4 biggest teams that we have seen, Donnie. I mean, the average height on these teams is like 6'10", 6'11". Like there are some huge kids on all of these teams here. And listen, I think Michigan and UConn is not a bad look here because Michigan, Illinois, we'd have to spend the entire offseason talking about how the Big Ten is the greatest conference ever been put together in college basketball history. So, let the Big East represent in the finals, will you?
More fun on a Monday. How's it get any more fun? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Prediction Markets Edge right here on the early line. We got you covered over the next half hour. Different way to invest your money, Joe. And as I'm taking a look at the Final Four, wait till you see some opportunities to invest here. I'm excited. It's Donnie Rightside and Joe Ranieri, just so I can do every day, Monday through Friday. Bring the people, Joe, exactly what they want.
Yeah, I'm looking very forward to this week here, Donnie, and the prediction markets offering us a couple of different ways to approach this Final Four and this championship matchup. So a couple of different ways that we can go to, shall we say, be profitable when it's all said and done.
Big East, Big Ten, game number 1, Final Four, Saturday night, start at 6:09 Eastern, Joe. That's Illinois taking on UConn right now. Currently trading, Illinois is the favorite. Chance to win, 55% on the predictive market Kalshi here. And, of course, UConn the dog at 45%. If we include the spread in this, Joe, Illinois favored by 2.5, currently trading at 49 cents, which means a $100 investment on Illinois to win this game by 3+ points. That would pay back $200, Joe, and $5.
Yeah, so it's interesting here, Donnie, because I think it's clear that we've got a couple of things happening in the markets. Number one, you've got, I think, Arizona and Michigan overpriced a hair. I do think that Illinois and certainly UConn is definitely underpriced in these markets in a big, big way. So when you look at, unfortunately for Michigan and Arizona, they got to play one another, right, Donnie, which is a bit of a problem. But Illinois and UConn are sitting here. That's where the value is to win the championship, because whether it be in Arizona and Michigan have to, they're going to have to feast upon one another to make it to the title game. That leaves the winner of this Illinois-UConn game, to me, Donnie, where all the value is in the future market. I happen to think UConn is the team to look at because they're the lowest priced team right now. How they're getting points and are an underdog here, I don't know. But in the prediction markets, not only do I like them to beat Illinois, I like them to win it all, Donnie. And currently, the way they're priced, you could go ahead by picking them in the championship market as well and make yourself a pretty good profit without having to win the championship.
And by the way, Joe, opening up some of these markets here on Cashing the Predictive Markets, how about the props and the mentions here, Joe? If an announcer or color commentator says record, buzzer, draft, drafted, recruit, recruited, and recruitment, and many other things, an ankle, a double-double, a schedule, Joe. Like, let's just say, hey, UConn comes in with a good record. That's currently trading at 68%, a chance they'll say that.
Yep.
Also, ankle, which means if somebody has an ankle injury that will come up. But also understand this, buzzer is currently trading at 61%, which means they're going to show the highlights show this game from UConn and how they got into this by knocking off Duke. A shot right around the buzzer. Airball, airballed, all-American, anything you want, Joe, feels like. It's in the prop market for this game. Fantastic stuff. Different way to watch it.
Absolutely. I mean, those mentioned markets, very much a lot of fun, Donnie, to keep it going. And some of those mentions, you're going, how in the world do they not say these words and these phrases?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like that approach as well, especially the mentions correlate to who the winner is as well, Donnie. Keep that in mind.
No doubt about it here. Michigan and Arizona, Joe, Final Four game number 2. It's going to take place at 8:49 Eastern. That's Michigan and Arizona. Currently trading as the favorite at 52%. The Michigan Wolverines. Arizona currently trading at 48%. If we bring the spread in, again, another low one here. Michigan by 1.5 points, currently trading at 49 cents. And again, you can use these sliders, Joe. Think Michigan wins by 4.5 or 7.5 points. Slide it up for the plus money here. But Michigan currently, Joe, trading as the favorite here, going up against Arizona.
And that was surprising, too, because a lot of people in a look ahead thought maybe Arizona would be the favorite, a slight favorite. But either which way you cut it, Donnie. I mean, look in the futures market here alone in the championship market. They're priced at about 35 cents each. So there's not a lot separating these two. And if you truly think that whoever wins this game, and you don't want to pick between these two, then just pick who you think is going to be the national champion and look to that market, because I got to tell you, Donnie, that either of these teams are going to be the favorite against either Illinois or UConn. I don't even think it's up for debate, which means they could go from 35 cents to all of a sudden, close to 60 cents when it's all said and done. So I do think that pick your winner here and then correlate that to the championship market and double your profits and double your fun if you're right here, Donnie, because I don't see a lot separating these two teams.
And if you want to get into that mixed market again here on some of those mentions, how about the word elbow, Joe? Currently trading at 56%, which means an elbow jumper. You hurt your elbow, fouled on the elbow. Many different meanings there, but also one time you can cash out. A $100 wager would pay back at $173. Prediction Markets Edge on the early line continues to roll along. And how about if I told you a game's going to be played today? Michigan versus Texas. Whoa! How did Texas get back in? And why does Michigan have to play them again? But we're talking about women's college basketball. Elite 8 edition set to begin, Joe, in roughly 10 hours, which is 7 p.m. Eastern here. Michigan, Texas, women's college basketball. Texas, an 80% chance to win this basketball game on the Kalshi Marketplace. Michigan, Joe, only listed at 20%, but if we do include the spread, 9.5-point favorite for Texas, currently trading at 52 cents. If you feel they're going to win this game by 10-plus points, $100 investment, Joe, would pay you back $193. Women's college basketball Elite 8 gets underway tonight once again.
Yeah, and well, it's funny because we already have two number ones that have advanced, Donnie, in UConn and UCLA. Texas is number one. Michigan is number 2 here. So, and Texas has done nothing but just bulldoze everybody that they have come in contact with this month. So, I mean, this is their 3rd straight trip to the Elite 8. They embarrassed Kentucky last game. This is a tough team to get in front of. Michigan has been great this season, but it just feels like experience matters, and nobody's got more of it than Texas in this spot. So, yeah, this game could get out of hand in a hurry here.
Elite 8 starting back up tonight here. Powerhouse South Carolina takes the court at 9 p.m. to take on TCU. And if we're looking at the predictive markets here, South Carolina, a 90% chance to win this basketball game. 10% here on TCU. But if we include the spread here tonight, Joe, 13.5, roughly 2 touchdowns as a favorite for South Carolina, currently trading at 54%, which means a $100 investment on South Carolina win by 2 touchdowns tonight. That would pay you back $186, Joe.
I mean, look at South Carolina, #1 seed, right? We all know South Carolina certainly has a championship pedigree. But Donnie, they have won to this particular point. They have outscored their opponents in the tournament by 135 points. That is absurd, Donnie, in 3 wins here. Now they're taking on #3 TCU. The spread tells you everything you need to know, right? Like they shouldn't even show up. We'll see about that. You know, sometimes if you're just rolling teams and never getting pushed, it's going to be interesting to see. Can TCU keep this thing close enough to put a little pressure on South Carolina? Because nobody's been able to do it to this particular point. I think TCU might punch back here a little bit against South Carolina.
Let's get back to the men's game here, Joe, because we've got 4 teams left. They'll play in the Final Four this Saturday. Then the following Monday here, a week from tonight, you'll know your NCAA champion, and you can invest in it here on the Kalshi Marketplace. And by the way, $201.9 million have been invested in this marketplace throughout the season on who is going to cut down the nets and be the men's college basketball champion. The current favorite here slightly is 35% chance with Arizona, followed closely by Michigan at 34%. Then you have Illinois and UConn, Joe, at 18 and 14% respectively.
So this is exactly the point I was making here, Donnie, is that, listen, take the Illinois and UConn game. If you like UConn to make it to the national championship game, I mean, they're trading at what, 14 cents right now. That is by just getting to the game, Donnie. I don't care what and I don't think they'd be much more than a 3 or 4 point underdog here in that spot, no matter whether they play Arizona or Michigan. But I do think that price from 14 cents would likely go to 35 cents, maybe even 40 cents, just for making it to that particular point. So that's how I would approach the national championship market, is who do you think is going to win? I still think it's a coin flip between Arizona and Michigan, but whoever wins that, Donnie, they're at 34, 35 cents. What are we waking up to them the next day? 60 cents? 65 cents?
Exactly. And if you're looking at a way to invest it there, and let's just say you think UConn's going to win it, Joe, a $100 investment would pay back $7.15. But also, understand this, UConn plays that game in the Final Four and is up at the half. That tickets automatically go from 14% to 16% to 18%. You don't even have to watch it play out. Just a different way of thinking here when you're trying to invest money, as opposed to watching it play out all the way to the end. You can jump out of those contracts certainly at any time if it is to your benefit.